Welcome to the Rebellious Remedy. I'm Jonathan Ennis, founder of Dream Root Wellness. Here we return to Christ as the foundation of true health, body, mind, heart, and spirit, so we can steward our lives in faithful obedience to God's design. If you're ready to walk this out with others, you're invited to join the Dream Root Wellness Network. Join today at community.dreamrootwellness.com. Welcome back. This week, we start on the physical branch. Well, I start here because for a lot of people, this is where the breakdown shows up first. Low energy, poor sleep, extra weight, chronic stress, pain, weakness, burnout. This is where people first realize something is wrong, not because the body is the most important part of you, but because the body is hard to ignore when it starts failing. And right here is where the modern world lies to you. It tells you physical health is about appearance, about vanity, about six packs, fad diets, and fitness obsession. That's a distraction. Physical wellness is not about worshiping the body. It's about stewarding the body. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 19 and 20 say, "Do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. You were bought at a price. Therefore, glorify God with your body." Your body matters because it belongs to God. It's not random, not meaningless, not disposable, not yours to neglect until it breaks. It's a temple. And temples aren't supposed to be trashed and burned down. They're supposed to be honored, maintained, protected, strengthened. So physical stewardship of the body isn't about getting shredded. It's not about chasing aesthetics. It's not about optimizing yourself. It's about reclaiming your body from lies. Lies from culture, lies from the modern health system, lies from the enemy. Because the world wants you weak. Weak people are easier to control, easier to sell to, easier to medicate, easier to exhaust, easier to keep dependent. And there are entire industries built on that weakness. Big food wants you addicted. Big pharma wants you dependent. The wellness industry wants you confused enough to keep buying the next fix. So the question isn't whether there's pressure on your body. There is. The question is whether you're going to keep handing your body over to that system or whether you're going to take it back. So what is physical wellness really about? Readiness. Readiness to serve, readiness to lead, readiness to work, to endure, to protect, readiness to show up when your family needs you, readiness to do the work God has put in front of you. That's why this matters, because a weak, neglected, run-down body affects everything. You think worse, you react worse, you endure less, you recover slower, you get more passive, more fragile, you get less useful when life gets hard. A lot of people want purpose while sabotaging the vessel they would need to live it out. That doesn't work. Your body isn't the whole of who you are, but it is the vessel through which you live out your calling in the world. And if that vessel is underfed, sleep-deprived, inflamed, overworked, and weak, that matters. Now, I didn't learn this from theory. I learned it by living the opposite way. Back when I was working as a paramedic, I was grinding hard. Long shifts, long drives, too little sleep, bad food, constant stress, no real margin. From the outside, it looked like discipline, but it wasn't discipline. It was depletion. I was exhausted, overweight, burned out, dragging myself from shift to shift. I remember sitting in church on Sundays and falling asleep in my chair. That's not strength. That's not stewardship. That's a body collecting the bill for years of neglect. And a lot of people are doing the same thing right now. They call it adulthood. They call it hard work. They call it responsibility. But common does not mean healthy, and normal does not mean wise. A lot of what people call normal is just widely accepted dysfunction. This is one of those things that hit me in healthcare. In pain management and later in primary care, I kept seeing the same pattern. People would come in with real suffering, real pain, real fatigue, real dysfunction, and the system had answers for management, a prescription, a protocol, a plan for symptom control. But too often, nobody was rebuilding the foundation. Nobody was dealing seriously with poor sleep, poor food, no movement, chronic stress, burnout, inflammation, no ownership. That doesn't mean medicine has no place, but symptom management is a terrible vision for life because you weren't made just to manage decline. You were made for strength, for vitality, steadiness, endurance, for useful service. And if the foundation is broken, managing symptoms without rebuilding that foundation will only get you so far. So let's make this plain. Reclaiming the physical branch means taking responsibility for your body again, not obsessing over it, not idolizing it, taking responsibility for it. And that starts with basic things, not flashy things, basic things. Three things, in fact, which make up the simplest thing I teach for physical health: sleep, eat, move. Sleep, eat, move. Number one, sleep. Rest the body. This is where people love to lie to themselves because exhaustion looks important. People act like burnout proves their commitment. It doesn't. Psalm 127, verse 2 says, "In vain you rise early and stay up late, toiling for bread to eat, for he gives sleep to his beloved." This verse isn't against work. It's against anxious toil. It's against grind. It's against living life like your worth comes from how depleted you are. Sleep matters. Recovery matters. Rest matters. Because a body that never recovers becomes a body that cannot serve well. Number two, eat. Fuel the body. The modern food system is built for profit, not nourishment. It's engineered to keep people overfed, undernourished, inflamed, tired, and hooked. So stop eating like convenience is your God. Eat real food. Eat whole food. Prioritize protein, at least 0.7 grams per pound of your target body weight. Drink water. Cut out the chemical garbage. Stop pretending ultra-processed junk is neutral just because it's common and convenient. Common isn't the standard. Convenient isn't the standard. Truth is the standard. Number three, move the body. The body gets weaker when it's not used, and modern life makes that easy. We sit for work, sit for driving, sit for entertainment, sit for recovery, sit for convenience. Then we wonder why the body feels heavy, stiff, tired, and fragile. You were made to move. Walk daily, at least 8,000 steps. Strength train consistently, 15 minutes, 5 days a week. Carry heavy things. Do real physical work when you can. Use your body like it was built for action. Movement's not punishment. It's part of stewardship. Now, here is where a lot of people get stuck. The physical branch is not just food and exercise. It's also pace, schedule, stress, recovery, workload, the rhythm of life. And this is where people run themselves into the ground and then act like it's somehow holy. It's not holy. The rat race is not God's design. Chronic fatigue isn't a badge of honor. Burnout isn't noble. One of the enemy's favorite lies is this: if you are exhausted, you must be important. You can be busy and disordered. You can be productive and foolish. You can work hard and still neglect what matters most. The truth is, you can't pour from an empty vessel, and you weren't made to spend your life proving your worth through exhaustion. So what stewardship of the temple looks like in real life is this: ordinary acts of obedience. It's smaller than people think. And that's why we all too often miss it. Choosing real foods over processed junk, walking daily instead of staying still, going to bed on time, turning off screens, drinking water, strength training at least a few days a week, saying no to pointless stress, refusing schedules that slowly destroy you, building habits that support your mission instead of draining it. That's how the body gets reclaimed, not through hype, through repeatable obedience, not vanity, but obedience. Remember, 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 20 tells us, you were bought at a price. Therefore, glorify God with your body. Now let's make this even more practical. A lot of people fail because they want a dramatic future result, but they refuse daily stewardship. They want a new life in 6 months, but they don't want to do the things that need to be done today. Jesus says in Matthew chapter 6, verse 34, therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Today has enough trouble of its own. That's the foundation of the biblical 24-hour life. You don't need to fix your entire life today. You need to steward what you can steward today. That means the actions you take for your physical health should be simple enough to complete in one day and clear enough to be repeatable every day. So stop asking, how do I change everything? And ask this instead, what strengthens the physical branch today? Maybe that means a 30-minute walk. Maybe it means 3 protein-focused whole food meals, drinking a glass of water before coffee, turning screens off an hour before bed, 10 minutes of strength work, no packaged processed snacks, a real bedtime. That's not exciting. Good. It's not supposed to entertain you. It's supposed to rebuild you. Don't wait for a diagnosis to wake up. Don't wait for fear to force change. Don't wait for culture to approve of what you already know is wise. Don't wait until your body is so run down that you have no other choice. Start now, because your physical health is not just a goal. It's a gateway to greater endurance, greater service, greater steadiness, greater usefulness in the hands of God. This world isn't going to hand you your health back. You have to reclaim it. That starts when you reject 3 lies: that weakness is normal, that exhaustion is noble, that your body doesn't matter. Your body does matter. It belongs to God. So honor the temple, reclaim the vessel, strengthen the body. Stop outsourcing your stewardship to systems that profit from your decline. You were made for far more than survival. You were made for strength. So start there, not with obsession, not with vanity, but with obedience. Because when the physical branch gets stronger, the whole tree benefits. This week, I want you to identify 3 daily actions to reclaim your physical health. These aren't vague goals. Make them simple, make them daily, make them repeatable. Then answer one more question for each. Why does this matter for the life God has called me to live? That's where physical stewardship begins.